Hello everyone. Happy Thursday evening. I'm with Sean right here, and we're just going to hang out and talk about
Sounds like a
stuff.
good time to me. I could use a little bit of that after the week I've had.
Me too. Only as soon as I sign off, I'll get up and continue working. Hey, cheers everyone.
Cheers.
Sean, I've been processing records like a banshee.
Oh, that's
A
good.
lot of times I end up washing records on the VPI, then I listen to them, then I price them because sometimes a mark you don't hear at all.
Yeah, very true.
So, yeah. What about you? What you been doing this week?
Been hanging out in California and taking care of some personal business out here, and then
California.
Have had the chance to shop for a little bit of vinyl. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show any of it tonight because when I travel and when I fly, I only do a carry-on bag, and fitting vinyl into carry-on bags just doesn't work. So I just had the shop ship it. So I've got a whole bunch of vinyl coming, but it's all in a box on the way to my house.
Very cool. Cheers, Bob.
Cheers.
Well, when it shows up, you can listen to it and cool things like that.
Oh, yeah.
The funny thing about buybacks, I love buybacks. I love it because that's a way for me to get exotic sounds, folks, water running, all sorts of sounds here in my building.
You wouldn't believe the sounds that you hear in that shop.
And so I could, lots of stories, folks, but I have some good stories too. You have people bringing me stuff like this. Sonny Rollins, Freedom Suite. This is an OGC. Beautiful copy. I enjoy listening this afternoon. And then you have people bringing me stuff, trying to get some money. Sometimes I wonder if they need to get the next little rock or something because they bring me all this non-desirable stuff that I don't even want to look at.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, today.
Ooh. A bunch of slackers on there. Absolutely. A bunch of slackers.
Yeah,
Hadn't heard this in forever. I'll listen to it today.
It's a great record.
I love the synthesizer part toward the end of the record.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was where Eddie Van Halen really started to really get into synthesizers, and of course, that continued on to 1984 and all those records, and then into Sammy Hagar. But yeah, I mean, honestly, some days I think Eddie Van Halen liked synthesizers every bit as much as he liked guitars.
Oh, I could believe that. Yeah, but he was just doing some cool sounds, some textures of sound. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which shop did you frequent when you were during your visit?
So there's a couple of shops in town, but there's three mainly, but two of them, I kind of have hit or miss, and with my time constraints and everything, I kind of skipped out on those two. But the best shop in town for me is called Tower District Records, and it's funny because all the record shops here in town are actually in the Tower District. And the Tower District is a cool little section of town. It's based around a performing arts theater called the Tower Theater. And Tower has always been kind of the quirky, kind of fun part of town. And so, any kind of like vintage stuff and things like that, if you're going to be looking for anything like that in this town, chances are you're going to find it in the Tower District. And so, So anyway, Tower District Records is where I've been, and it's a great shop here in Fresno, California.
Wonderful. Hey, Tardis, good to see you tonight. I had to listen to this, folks. There was a mark on the last track. Didn't hear a thing. Al Cooper.
That's a good one too. I've got a super clean copy of that, man.
Ooh,
I love that album.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone dropped off some magazines.
Look at that.
And then Mick Jagger's on the cover.
Mick Jagger looks so young there. What is that? Yeah. Is that an issue from 1925?
I think so. 72. He's only 12 years old here.
Yeah, although it's Keith Richards that, I mean, of all the members of the Rolling Stones that I'm surprised that are still standing, it's got to be Keith Richards. I mean, at some point we got to start asking ourselves what kind of world we're leaving for him, because I think he's going to outlive us all.
I had on YouTube, I had a suggestion of live Keith Richards show, and which was pretty cool. I did not realize it, but the current drummer for the Rolling Stones was the drummer for the Winos.
Really?
Mm-hmm. OSSIE, Ozzy Sabbath.
Always
Ozzy.
a winner.
Yeah.
God, that, Adam, I would love, I can only imagine, right, the number of kids that probably snuck that first Black Sabbath record home from the record store, threw it on their parents' hi-fi, and then, mom or dad comes home from work early, hears that, and just breaks the record in half and threw it in the trash, man. Unbelievable. I mean, to me, the real importance of that record was it finally showed everyone the dark side of things like, all the Sunshine pop and stuff like that was going on in the 60s, right? It was the anti-Beach Boys. And I mean, I can only imagine and you go and you listen to that first Sabbath record now, and it doesn't sound all that groundbreaking or anything else, because we have 50 years of musical history behind it. But man, I can only imagine the number of minds that record must have blown in 1970.
The 13-year-old in America versus the 13-year-old in England it's probably a different experience.
Very much so, especially in a place like North Carolina where we live, right? I mean, in 1970, I mean, parents still wanted their kids to listen to Jesus music and, be good God-fearing people. And that's really not what Black Sabbath was all about.
There you go. All right, Sean, guess this next record. Wow, wow. Wow,
wah-wah pedal. Wah-wah pedal on the guitar. 25 or 6-4. Oh, God, Skyscraper.
Wow, wow.
I really like that album. I know opinions are kind of mixed on it, but I've always enjoyed it. I mean, it's not one I spin a ton, but I've always enjoyed that. I like that album.
The jacket is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, TARDIS says nowadays Ozzy is a cartoon character and grandmas love him, and Snoop Dogg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if you go back further than Black Sabbath, I mean, my God, Elvis was considered the devil when he was popular. Getting up there and swinging around and shaking his hips and everything. I mean, that was incredibly provocative in the 50s.
It's interesting to watch or read how that was so taboo, and you're like, what's taboo about it?
Yeah, and I think that's something that happens every generation, right? Every generation always has to take the line in the sand, if you will, a little bit further, right? And so, you've got one generation of kids growing up that says, well, when I grow up, I'll never make a big deal out of all this stuff my parents are making a big deal out of. My kids will be able to do all this stuff. But then when they have kids, then all of a sudden their kids are allowed to do those things. So their kids have to take that line in the sand just a little bit further, right? To finally make go, whoa, hold on a minute.
Absolutely. This is on a label I don't see very often. Bellafon is CCR.
Oh, okay.
It's a German label.
that was German. Yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of these I've put a price sticker on, but I could have done a sale tonight, folks. But I kind of feel like I need to get some people in the shop this weekend. And of course, whenever I post on Instagram now, I'm saying call if you want to hold or ship. And if you guys see anything you want, just call. Just call me.
Yeah, and I would say that it's probably an opportune time to enforce that. If you to take it from someone who's been a customer of Adam's for years, if you want something, call him. Don't text, because sometimes Adam gets really busy and sometimes the messages wait. So if you want something, call.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. Bob Dylan, Desire.
That's a nice copy. I don't suppose you got a Blood on the Tracks in there, because God, I need an upgrade of that.
Yeah, I had the trilogy, the Bob Dylan trilogy on cassette, and it sold. Yeah.
You talking about the late 70s, the Jesus trilogy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Party time. Hey, Calvin, how are you?
Time in Las Cruces, New
You
Mexico.
know, I sold 2 copies of this last week. It's such a good record, folks. I
Whoa,
enjoyed
that
it.
is clean. Wow, that's way cleaner than the one I have.
Well, it's got shrink on it, and it's got a hype sticker.
I'll have to talk to you about that. I'm with you, Adam. I love that album. You know, I
And
know
the
everybody.
vinyl's so pretty.
You know, I know everybody's like, oh, well, you know, that's where REO Speedwagon sold out and went all pop and everything. And it's true, but it's still a great record.
I didn't know REO Speedwagon before this record, and I
Really?
didn't hear this record when it first came out either.
Okay. Yeah. See,
I
when I
didn't
was
hear this
growing up,
record probably 8 years ago.
so I always knew REO Speedwagon's 70s stuff because my dad had all of that. He had, you know, REO 2 and that live album that they put out in the 70s. So yeah, I was far more familiar with their 70s stuff growing up than the 80s stuff.
Oh, wow. New Mexico Street beat UConn.
Wow, New Mexico State beat UConn? Jeez, that's awesome.
Is that a basketball game?
That's an upset. That's definitely an upset.
This turned out to be a very clean copy. I watched it. It's got the tan label on. Which Star was here? Star! I think this is the first domestic edition on the tan for America. I think. I'm not really sure. Yeah. Hey, when this came in today, I almost had to laugh.
Oh, is that an MCA? No, what is it? Show me the circle there in the upper right.
I will. I want to show you how it's dog-eared like crazy and bent to pieces.
Is that a foreign pressing?
So it's Jazz Wax Records.
Oh, jeez. Probably a bootleg.
It's one of these unauthorized, or some people say copyright expired European.
Yeah, it's a good way to have it on vinyl, but it probably doesn't sound very good. Yeah.
And it's probably 200 gram. I haven't spent it, but you know the jacket has some issues.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that someone purchased it on a internet site, and this internet site put a sticker on the shrink and popped it in the mail. But I'm not going to say that name because I want people to shop RecordKrate.com.
And you know, it's kind of sad too, because a lot of those gray market things from Europe, legitimate, you know, record stores like you, Adam, they all have those. A lot of them do. They get them right from their distributors.
I made a mistake one time and ordered some inexpensive jazz records, and I later learned about the copyright expired and things like that. The funny thing is, you know, it's probably 200 gram. The jacket is nicer than our jackets, and the inner sleeve is pretty thick. So they go through all that added bonus stuff.
Only to source it all from CD.
Mm-hmm. This one was dished. I didn't listen to it, but it's Andre Crouch. And I like Andre. Some guys from the Crusaders are on this record. So I definitely got to listen to this. One, to make sure it's going to play properly and tracks properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Folks, I don't see Anita Baker like I used to see her. My first few years, I used to get Anita Baker, you know, 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
Not anymore. So that was really neat to get her. I understand that she's. I do too. I understand she's got all the legal things worked out with her music, and she's able to accept royalties. I don't know the full story. I just know stuff here and there.
Yeah, it's amazing how how many bad deals so many of these artists manage to get into. It's crazy.
I love Sly, Yellow Epic. I haven't played it yet. All I did was watch it. And
I don't think I know that album.
we know the one with the car on the cover. It's like a Pontiac Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who has the bomb ticking in the background? Oh, that's Calvin. That's Calvin. I think Calvin calls it a doggy. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty rough. I'm still going to play and see what it sounds like. So, TARDIS, I have a clock right here. I'm going to show TARDIS my clock. Sometimes I feel like this is my area. Oops. There you go, TARDIS. I forgot what it's called. TC told us one night who these little figures are called. Love one another. Precious moments, maybe? Anyway, I just kind of keep it here. That way I feel like I'm not alone. Yeah.
How could you be alone when you have that cute little cat with you?
She's back there curled up in a circle in the office chair. I went back there to check on her.
Yeah, she's curled up on her throne, as all good queens should be.
Yes, and I went back there to check on her, and she went, and then she laid on her back with her arms up like that, and I gave her a belly rub, and she did that, and she was just as happy as it can be. I thought it was a dog panting. Yeah, I'm going to pretend it's a ticking Batman villain bomb. There you go.
Kerpow!
Kerpow. I'm real curious to listen to this. This was produced by Jimi Hendrix.
No kidding.
And Jimmy plays guitar on this. I bet TARDIS knows this record. I bet Calvin knows it.
I've never heard of that before.
But it's on the Buddha. Eerie Apparent. Yeah, so I got to listen to that. Don't see this come in very often. Diamond Live.
Wow, it's still got the shrink and the hype sticker on it.
It does not have shrink, but it does have the hype sticker.
Oh, okay. Is it a promo?
It's a German pressing.
Oh, German. Okay, that would explain it. Yeah, because a lot of times, even in the 80s, they didn't shrink wrap records in Europe. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So they would just put the hype sticker on the jacket.
Yep. And for anyone that would buy that, if you don't like hype stickers right on the jacket like that, on those European copies where they would slap the hype sticker right on the jacket, the sticker's made of material that tends to come off very easily. So, if you wanted to take it off or whatever and then just put it inside the jacket, you could do that without any damage to the jacket.
I get records in that has different scents. This came from a female, so it actually smells kind of nice.
Well, it's certainly better than when you get a load of records that came from a house where people smoke like a chimney.
I tell you. So I've seen it online, and there's one store in Wilmington that does it, but they would take a new pressing, a new record. Of course, it's got shrink on it, and they would print their own label with a barcode, and they would put that over the shrink. Some people enjoy keeping the shrink on their records. And I wonder how
that's just a matter of personal preference.
Right. I wonder how some people feel about them putting their little label right on top of the shrink.
I mean, personally, I don't care because I always take the shrink off my records. But
but for the people who enjoy keeping the shrink.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't listened to this today. I was wanting to, and I still have time. But this is the music of Lionel Richie. Instrumentally. So I thought this was going to be really interesting. It has Truly, Love Will Find a Way, The Only One, Hello, Are You? Excuse me, You Are, All Night Long, Lady, Round and Round, My Love, Running with the Night, You Mean More to Me, and just put some love in your heart.
Hey, Adam, keep showing some vinyl. I got to run inside real quick. I'll be right back. Keep showing some vinyl.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's always fun going through buybacks and cool things like that. I got a lot. I got more than I thought. Maze. So this is Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. This is a gatefold. I guess he, like a lot of people, got Dana Ross and the Supremes when it was the Supremes to start with. Yeah. I like it though. This one's factory sealed. I got to put it in a bag and put an attribute sticker on it. This is Roots, the soundtrack. Quincy Jones does the music. Roots television production. Man, I need to watch that sometime. Yeah. I like on the back that it has a Sam Goody sticker. We had Sam Goody in North Carolina. I don't know how, if they made it beyond North Carolina or not. When you were growing up, did you have a Sam Goody?
Yeah, there were one or two, but Sam Goody, by the time I was buying music, late 80s, early 90s, Sam Goody had actually merged with a big chain out west called Musicland. And so in some parts of the country, it was Musicland. In other parts of the country, it was Sam Goody. Yeah, but it was the same company.
I have a sticker that was on a cassette.
So we had more Musiclands in California.
I barely remember walking through the mall and there was Sam Goody.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think I may have had 2 or 3 minutes in there. I wasn't allowed to go in there and free roam. I remember seeing guitars and amplifiers, and I remember seeing records.
Yep.
Here's another one I haven't listened to in a while. Women and Children First.
Women and Children First. That's a great album.
Was this their first one?
No. That was the third record, I want to say. No. Yeah, third. That one came out in 1980, right? What's the copyright date on the back? If it was 1980, then it was their third album.
1980.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the third record. So the first one was the self-titled Van Halen. That was 1978, and then Van Halen 2 was 79.
This one is Edward Van Halen.
Yep.
Haven't listened to this in a while. This was a buyback. It didn't come from the vault, but it's hadn't heard this in a while. Black Label. So it was cool to listen to that. I think that's part of their trilogy, Berlin trilogy. Such a fun guy to listen to. Rick James with all the cool stuff.
I love Rick James. Guy was an absolute nut, but he's fun to listen to.
Absolutely. Marvin Gaye Shrink and Hype sticker.
Beautiful.
Sexual Healing. Yeah.
I think that was Marvin Gaye's last huge hit record. Was that one? That was early 80s.
I have to really pause when we talk about Marvin Gaye because sometimes it's easy for me to get Marvin Gaye and Al Green mixed up.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to remember. Al Green's the one that didn't get shot by his dad over a business deal.
And he went on to have a lot of Jesus records, and he still has a church where he performs.
Yeah, the Reverend Al Green. Yep, absolutely.
I shouldn't say perform. And LTD, just good soulful stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This one's got the embossed silver. Oh, good stuff. I can listen to stuff like that all day, folks. Here's another LT. Oh, here's 2 more LTDs. Something to Love. Love to the World. And there's a bunch of people in that band.
Whew. Yep.
I just love this stuff, folks. Love their outfits. Spacemen. Yeah.
So I got a couple of things I can show, some things I
Go
held
right
on
ahead.
to that I bought out
Hop
here,
in.
but they're all sets. But if that doesn't bother you, then
Hop on.
all right. So I finally found this. Been looking for this for a while, but found a copy of Lives Throwing Copper from 1994. Still in the translucent red case and all that. So that's pretty good. This one sounds good. I've gotten through it and played it. Another one that turned out to play really, really well, and glad to finally have this. I actually don't have this on vinyl. It's Voices Carry from Till Tuesday. I have a couple of other Till Tuesday records on vinyl, but not this one. For some reason, I just never see it. First time I ever do, I'll grab it. But
Yeah, that's a good one.
yep, and then this one is great too. Goodbye Cruel World by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. So, and then this one was brand new, still sealed and everything. Is Dweezil Zappa's Having a Bad Day. It's a good guitar record. He obviously took after the old man and loving to play the guitar, so it's a pretty good guitar album. And then something that I didn't find in a record store, but I did find while I was cleaning out my my stepdad's other house today, or not today, but a couple of days ago. Adam, I don't know if these are designed for voice or if they're designed for music, but I found a still sealed 60-minute Maxell C60, but it's a communicator series, which makes me think that it's for voice and not necessarily for music. But when I get home, I think I'm going to try and record some music on it and see how it sounds.
I don't think you should open it. I think you should keep it sealed.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll trade you one. I think they were sold in bulk. Maybe churches bought many of them and they just duplicated.
And considering the line of business he was in the 80s and into the early 90s, he was in special investigations for Border Patrol. And so I'm sure that he probably had to use dictation and things like that. So that's another reason why I'm thinking if he had one of those sealed cassettes in his house, it's probably designed more for voice than for music. But sure, if you want me to keep it sealed and bring it in for you, I'll trade you for one of those behind you.
Okay.
All right.
Did you by chance find a portable cassette recorder?
No, I didn't. I looked around. He had one cassette player in that house, and it was part of like a combined system that had a tuner and a CD player and a cassette player.
Yeah.
And the cassette player unfortunately didn't work. But that's all right.
Techmoan on YouTube, he did a video about a type of interview recording cassette thingy. Real interesting to watch. Yeah.
One quick little anecdote about this live Throwing Copper record is I actually saw live on this tour in 1995 here in Fresno. And they played at the Wilson Theater downtown, which is now a church. But that was such an unbelievable rock and roll show that night. And at that particular concert, that 1995 date in Fresno is where they filmed the video for the last song on that record called White Discussion. And they played the song twice to an empty theater and then once during the concert. And then they combined the footage from all three of those takes to make the music video. So you can find it on YouTube. But when you see the audience and everything, that was the show I was at all those years ago.
Do you see you?
Now, I've never found me. I think most of the audience shots in that video were kind of, down by the stage and stuff. And I was on the floor, but I was in the way back. So you probably wouldn't have seen me. But
they had to shoot it around Courtney Cox.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is neat. I picked up a portable cassette player, Sean. It's probably, it's flat and it's like a reporter.
I'm sorry, 1 second now. All right, my bad.
It's like a reporter's or a field recorder's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Sade with Promise. Domestic pressing.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
It really is. It really is.
Is that a gatefold, Adam?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see it? Oh, that bend's a little unfortunate.
Cold press can make it
Oh yeah,
flat again.
that's beautiful though.
It does.
Other than that, it looks really nice. The vinyl does the vinyl look pretty good?
It does. It looks really, really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So I don't have any of this band at home. So for me to listen to this, folks, was quite a chore. I put it off for 2 weeks, but I finally listened to it today.
Hey, physical graffiti.
Yeah. So I was able to get it priced, and I'm so happy that it's over. But
yeah, and you know, one thing I love about so many of those U.S. Led Zeppelin originals from the '70s, they all sound great. If you can find one in good shape, they universally sound fantastic.
Very cool. This one just did not sound good. The vinyl.
Oh yeah, that's a 12-inch single.
It is a LP.
If You Leave Me Now was on Chicago 10. That was on the Candy Bar record. Is that a compilation or something?
Don't know. If You Leave Me Now, Saturday in the a compilation. Saturday in the Park. Feeling Stranger Every Day I've Been Searching. But it
Columbia Records?
Yeah, it just doesn't sound good. Yeah. So I priced it $2.
Yeah, it's probably about right.
It does not sound good. Yeah. I enjoyed listening to this though, folks. This came out of the vault. It was my personal copy of
That's a heavy hitter right there.
It's a stereo pressing. Yeah. It's a good solid VG, a little background noise here and there, but it's a really good solid VG.
Sounds pretty comparable to seems pretty comparable to the copy I've got at home myself. Mine's a stereo just like yours. And
I'm gonna wash it and maybe it'll improve it a little bit.
And you know, I mean, mine is VG. It's got, you know, a little bit of crackle here and there, not bad. You know, a little bit of surface noise, but nothing that takes away from the music. Man, the music just comes in loud and proud. Those original Incense and Peppermints all sound great.
If you're gonna have one record by this band, this is the one to have. Rose Royce in Full Bloom.
You got me there. I've never heard of Rose Royce.
Oh, make a note.
All right.
Check them out on the U and the Tube. And it's just really good. Really good. But another big band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's a big band.
It's a lot of money to split up.
Yeah. Although maybe not as bad if only 1 or 2 people in the band were actually writing songs and getting the songwriting royalties, I guess.
Right. And then there, of course, performance royalties. And then when we play a show, everybody's going to get paid.
Yeah.
So this is a gatefold, and it's in shrink.
Ooh. What's on that?
Got to be together. Celebrate. Old-fashioned love. Heroes. All the way down. Sorry to say. Wake up, children. Mighty Spirit. Jesus is love.
Very nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's hard to find gatefolds in shrink.
Yeah, because a lot of people would have taken it off so they could actually look inside the gatefold.
I have one copy of The Dark Side of the Moon that still has shrink on it.
Wow. Yeah, and it is always cool though when you take a gatefold out of shrink after all those years, because man, that kind of, you know, new record sound when you open up that gatefold for the first time, that is the greatest sound in the world, man.
It is, yeah. So I like the Staple Singers. I like Curtis Mayfield, but I've never been able to get into this record. I might try it again. But it's a soundtrack to Let's Do It Again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, and Jimmy Walker. Wow. I've never
All
heard of that
songs
song.
performed by the Staple Singers, produced by Curtis Mayfield.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to it again. I like Staple. I really do. Um,
Refresh my memory. Is the Staples Singers, was Mavis Staples involved in that?
mhm,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and yeah, it's just so good, so good. This is a repress. Curtis Mayfield. It's
Great
I
album.
like this record. It's a good one to have.
Oh, yeah.
Curtis.
If you're only
Yeah,
going to have two Curtis Mayfield albums, it's that one and Superfly.
Superfly.
Man, Superfly. I mean, to me, to my ears, that record might be 50 years old, but man, that record has aged amazingly well, and it's still a phenomenal listen even today.
Yeah. And this is going to go in the dollar bin, Bobby Womack.
Yeah.
I love me some Bobby Womack, but hopefully this will be a cover upgrade for somebody.
Oh, is the
But
vinyl pretty well shot?
It's just warped.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. No way.
Sometimes if I buy bulk records from a picker that's out of town, I'll mail them a proper box, like I get from my distributors. It's like this thick, and it has the double wall,
Yeah.
and I'll throw in a record like this, and then I'll ship it media mail. There's only one record in there. It's just a flopping around, but I can ship it very inexpensively.
Yeah. Media mail is wonderful for that bulk rate.
Yeah. One record that came in more recently that I'm keeping is the Tammy Terrell, Irresistible.
Mm-hmm.
That was a record store day title. Record store day drops. I can't remember, either last year or the year before. And
Cool.
I didn't keep me a copy. But I have that's not an original pressing, but it's a reissue from the 80s.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you ever shop Tower Records?
Yep, the Tower Records that I used to shop all the time was right here in Fresno at the corner of Blackstone and Bullard.
Was that the one on the hill?
No, but the Tower Records that is, or that building where Tower Records is actually now occupied by a California record shop that has, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 locations. It's called Rasputin Music. And so it's good to see that building still has a record shop in it. But God, Adam, in the 90s, I was one of the few kids, I was a teenager, and I was one of the few kids that was buying vinyl. And so, man, I would go in after getting my paycheck, dude, I would go and blow an entire paycheck on brand new vinyl at Tower Records. And so much of that 90s vinyl now is worth so damn much money. And I find it, I'm ambivalent about it, because for someone like me that was buying a lot of that stuff in the 90s, like I remember it was just all collecting dust in the bins. I mean, they couldn't give it away and nobody wanted it. And Tower Records was like the only place that you could still find brand new albums on vinyl. And I remember, my friends coming over and I'd be, spinning like the new Matchbox 20 record or something on vinyl and be like, wow, they're still putting stuff out on those old records. I'm like, yeah. It was all cool to me, though. But yes, I used to frequent Tower Records a lot in the 90s. And my wife did, too. She actually used to go and shop at the multiple story Tower Records at Newberry Street and Mass Ave in Boston. And she used to love it because she was a music major. And she said that the entire second floor of Tower was all classical. And, she said she'd take the subway into Boston when she was in high school and she'd spend, an entire afternoon at Tower Records.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When people come in, they're like, do you have Nirvana? And I was like, no, but I can order you one. No, I want the original pressing. Like, I want the original pressing of Stone Temple Pilots. And I was like, you know what, folks? I don't have it, but I'll give you a tip. I got a lot of Montevanti, and when they become super collectible, you won't be able to buy them. So you might as well go ahead and buy them now.
That's funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want the. Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, Marie.
That's
I
awesome.
played in our mid school band.
All right, so that would have been late 80s. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Tower Records was, I mean, it was just a mecca for people who love music. And you know, if you're ever interested, there's a fantastic documentary about Tower Records. You can find it online. I think it's streaming on like Hulu or it's either Hulu or
it's on YouTube.
Is it on YouTube? Yeah, All Things Must Pass, story of Tower Records. That's a great documentary, actually, because everyone just assumes that, you know, Tower Records died because of the internet, because of MP3s, and that's really not the case. You know, it was a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah. Yes, and it wasn't a virus.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and when you had, you know, in the late 90s when, you know, you had Best Buy and Walmart and Target and everybody else selling CDs so cheap because they figured out, you know, in the early to mid 90s, they figured out they could sell the CDs at cost or even, you know, 50 cents at a loss to get people in the door. They were loss leaders. And it's like, you know, how is Tower Records supposed to, I mean, how do you compete with that, you know?
Absolutely. Hey, Marie, this is Sean. We're hanging out tonight. Sean's visiting in California, and that's why he has his light on in the background, and he'll be back in our area soon.
I'll tell you, Adam, it's been weird. Even though I've been in California all week, I've been working. I didn't take vacation time. I've been working because, you know, this really isn't a vacation. And so I've been working, and I've been working East Coast hours, but on West Coast time. So where my first calls of the day are normally at 8 a.m. Eastern, I've been having to get up super early. So my first call of the day has been at 5 a.m. all week.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool. Hey, MT, how are you? That documentary is fantastic.
It really
is fun
is.
to watch.
I really enjoyed that documentary.
Yeah. I like I wish we had more videos inside the stores. And
although, I mean, Adam, did you see some of the pictures that they had in that documentary of some of those stores, like, you know, from the 70s, and seeing the bins with all those Led Zeppelin LPs were brand new and everything? I'm just looking at that going, my God, I was born in the wrong time.
I like there's a little clip where All Things Must Pass at Tower Records. And it's like they had a pallet full of All Things Must, and they kept bringing them in and opening the boxes, opening the boxes.
I love listening to Elton John talk about how every time he came to the U.S., he'd always have to go and spend time at Tower Records at the one.
Have to buy one of every record. Yeah. You know, I think about, like, there's been some big sellers since I've been open. Sturgill Simpson, Dude, and Tears for Fears.
And, has that Tears for Fears been a pretty good mover?
Yeah, it has.
Good.
I've had more requests, and but I just can't get any more of the green ones. The light is still on here too. That's cool. And so
that's what happens when we're 3 hours behind the rest of the world, right, Marie?
I mean, like, for Record Store Day next month, Taylor Swift, the 7-inch, I think I ordered 8,000 of those.
You'll be lucky if you get 5.
2.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think I've ever had more than 8 of the same title come in. And so for me, that's a biggie. But just to think of, just to think if I had ordered 8 of every new album that's available each week, I can't even order 1 of each cool new record that's out every week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sometimes I hear how cool it's going to be after they're already sold out at my distributor. So,
well, did you see that YouTube video that Jack White did earlier in the week, where he was basically
which one?
pleading with major record labels to open
Make
up
their
their
own
own
presses? Yeah.
You know, they should. I mean, Columbia Records had a cash cow doing that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They used all their excess capacity to press records for everybody from the tiniest little, indie labels all the way up to the majors. I mean, they pressed records for Warner Brothers. And it's like, you figure somebody at Universal Music or Warner or somebody would be like, hey, we really should. Yeah, we should, invest and open up a new pressing plant, and whatever capacity we don't use, we can sell, and other people will eat up our capacity. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer.
Well, you're exactly right. I think one thing that could happen, Sean, is that someone says, well, by the time we get this all up and running, records won't be popular anymore. We'll have to make
Yeah, well,
8-track
I don't
duplicated
buy that
machines.
either, because I think the vinyl resurgence is very clearly not a fad. I mean, the amount of vinyl being sold has gone up year after year since 2007. Fads don't last for, what is that? What, 15 years now? I mean, fads don't last that long. So if this was a fad, I think what's happening is, you had the entire generation, like the tail end of my generation and the generation that came after me. You're starting to have that group that was like, oh, well, why do I need physical media? Like, why do I need any of this? I can just download it all. And then all of a sudden you had a group of people that started to realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't have any kind of physical connection. Like, none of this is tangible. And so when people started getting interested in having a physical copy of their music again, I think people said, well, why do I want a little tiny CD with those little booklets and everything else when I can have vinyl, and, it's big and I can see everything, and, there's a lot more room for, credits and artwork and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's not hard to understand why vinyl became the preferred medium for people who want physical music. CDs satisfied the masses, but vinyl has always been what satisfies music lovers. And these days, the music lovers are really the ones that are driving the market for physical media anymore. Because, to the average everyday consumer, people like, my mom or whoever else, they just stream their music. It's great. You pay Apple Music $9.99 a month. You can stream just about any song you could possibly think of, any album you can think of. I mean, for most people, it works out great. But when you're a music lover and you want a little bit more than what those things can offer, vinyl's where it's at. And I don't think that's going away. I mean, 15 years has proven it's not going away.
Well, until there's another pressing plant and another pressing plant, or a pressing plant that adds another press, it just means that all the current pressing plants will have job security.
Yeah. And I mean, things will even out. I mean, I think I don't know, man. I mean, there are no easy answers. And I know there is at least one company that's making record pressing machines again. So it's not like these plants can't add capacity if they want to. But I mean, I read somewhere that we sold in 2021, there were 380 million vinyl records sold, like new vinyl LPs sold.
Okay.
And we only have the capacity of producing about 160 million a year. So we could seriously almost double capacity and still sell everything that's
crap. The other news from Third Man Records is that Jack has arranged an agreement with the Prince estate that he's going to press a forgotten Prince record from the 80s.
the Black Album.
I don't know if Warner Brothers has control over that or not. I don't know. It's Camilla.
Oh,
It's been on YouTube for years. You can listen to it.
yeah. I was going to say. I mean,
Marie said right. We said a lot of stuff, Marie, but right, yeah.
Right.
I mean, all it is a bunch of hydraulics and metal and heaters.
Somebody can figure out how to do it.
A few automated. I mean, we got people who are having to fabricate pieces that fell with pressing plants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
because a lot of the machines they're using are old, and you can't find new parts for them anymore. So if you need a part, you got to have it machined.
if you can make an automobile, you can make a pressing plant for records. That's for sure.
For real. And I watched something in a similar vein. There's one company in the United States that started making audio tape again about 7 or 8 years ago. It's called National Audio Company out in Springfield, Missouri. And one of the problems that they ran into with making audio tape was finding the machines that could do it. And what they came up with was they grabbed a machine that credit card manufacturers use to make those magnetic strips on the back of credit cards, because those are literally the same thing as audio tape. And if you can make those magnetic strips, you can make audio tape.
Years and years and years ago in a junk store, I found this little, it looked almost, it was like this, and this. And at the top, it had a reader. And it came with a set of cards. You put the card there, and it went, and it gave the answer to the question on the card. So it was a learning aid. And I was like, this is so cool.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like those old, you remember those old Scantron machines when we were in school, and we'd take a test and you had to use a number 2 pencil and fill in the bubble, and then they run the card through those machines and it would like grade them instantly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was really neat. And I don't think I have it anymore. It could be stored away somewhere, but wouldn't it be fun if I found it? And so I'm sure you probably could engineer your own little where you can do it. But I love when people do cool things like that and share it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool things like that. Sean, when are you coming back to this side of the world?
Flying home tomorrow. So don't get home until I don't get home till damn near midnight, but I'll be back in town tomorrow late night. So then I'm coming back here in June, and flying one way back here in June, and then gonna drive back home. So.
Oh wow. Were you able to experience some things that you have not experienced in a while during this trip?
Lots of so anybody who might be watching this who lives in the East Coast but has spent time on the West Coast will probably agree with me that there's really no such thing as will probably agree with me that that there is no such thing as I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
It's Jack White.
Anyway, yeah, there's no such thing as good Mexican food east of the Mississippi. It just doesn't exist. If you grow up in California in the Southwest, you'll never be satisfied with what you get anywhere else. So I always make it a point to go to some of my favorite Mexican restaurants here in town, and certainly some other things that I can't get on the East Coast, like In-N-Out Burger and stuff like that. So there's a lot of great places to eat in this town. So I always try and do the culinary tour while I'm here.
Would you say it's Mexican food? Would you say it's Tex-Mex?
No, definitely not Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex is much different, and I'm not a huge fan of Tex-Mex, but no, it's definitely a lot different.
Okay, cool. There's a food truck. I'll have to see if you can try it sometimes. Taco Wagon. Jack White, keeper of the faith. Jack had a different motivation for getting his presses running.
He did.
Than a big label would.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, very cool. Wow. Yeah. Well, Sean, hope you enjoy your evening tonight and your tomorrow.
Thank you.
The trip is cool and cool things like that, and we'll get to see what you got when you get back.
I'll definitely send you some shots. It should be at my house tomorrow, so it should be waiting for me when I get home.
Wonderful. Well, that's great. Yeah. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us tonight. We'll just kind of have to do it again where it's kind of like we're just hanging out talking, nothing really planned.
Yeah,
But
this was great.
Since I wasn't doing a sell, I thought I would just come on and
well, thanks for inviting me, Adam. Appreciate
sure. Let's talk about some of the thing I have.
Oh, yeah.
And so tomorrow's Friday. We're going through a warming phase here, folks. We had rain this morning, and then we're getting some beautiful weather coming in. Sean, you're going to see more things in bloom when you return.
Cool. And looking forward to it because, it was kind of cold and nasty when I left. So looking forward to a little bit warmer.
We're all getting ready for Record Store Day, which is coming up April 23rd. And cool things like that. So there we go. Don't go anywhere, Sean. Don't go anywhere, Sean. I said don't go anywhere after I end. Good night, Marie. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We'll see you really soon. Bye.